Yes, well, anyways, I am Uma Dickerson. Does anybody know who that is in Nevada's history? Well, I was the first lady of Nevada, married to Governor Denver Dickerson, to inhabit the mansion across the street that you were just visiting. That's right. My husband and I were married in 1904, and in 1909, we moved into the residence across the street as the first governor and his first lady to live there. Oh, there were so many firsts for me. I was the first lady to have a baby in the mansion. As a matter of fact, it is said that my daughter still haunts the mansion. 2 governors' wives have heard a baby crying, and that is attributed to the ghost of my daughter. Well, I'm said to haunt the porch at the governor's mansion, the mysterious lady in white. That would be me. And my children are said to be sometimes seen running up the staircase. I think the reason my children have come back to the mansion in their afterlife is they were so happy there when they were children.
Oh, well, howdy there. I'm John Minerva Moss, member of the Carson City Musicians Union, 1874 to 1913. I'm out here trying to think of a song. You look in Lone Mountain Cemetery, you'll see my gravestone, nice lyre on the headstone. I'm trying to think of this song. Let's see. It ain't easy to be dead. I'd rather sing about Jack's gold instead. One night he robbed a stage and there was 2 Wells Fargo's agents, yep, right there in the stage. They took out their shotguns, filled them full of buckshot. Poor Jack, he was going back to Eureka on the stage, and he died. Folks here in Carson heard about this. They said, Jack's gone. What about Jack's gold up there in 6 Mile Canyon? Well, they grabbed their shovels and their picks, and they ran up to 6 Mile Canyon and started looking all around for Jack's gold. Ooh, but an apparition, yes, a specter rose out of the parched earth and ran at them, scaring them to death. They had to leave real quick. They shot their pistols, but it did no good. That's the story of Jack's gold. Still up there.
My name is Charlotte M. Barkley. M also stands for May, like my daughter. I died June 6, 1911. My epitaph in Lone Mountain Cemetery reads, Mother. I was a native of Maryland, but was fortunate enough to be surrounded by a wonderful circle of friends that I made here once I moved to Carson. I left behind a brother and 7 children to mourn me. Well, this house was built after you were born, May, by Wilson Brower, who also owned the Arlington Hotel. His children loved to play with Mary Fulton there, who lived in the hotel while her father worked as a porter downstairs. But for some reason, the children were very frightened of the front porch of the hotel. So they came up with an idea to place sticks in strange shapes around a bottle to try to ward off the spirit of the devil. So if there's a devil here today, maybe this shape will help bring him out.
Burke Margaret died October 26, 1867. Born County Tipperley, Ireland. Aged 29 years, 26 days. Buried in Lone Mountain Cemetery with 4 of my infant children. Oh, 1867 was a difficult year for many of us settled in the West. Most deaths at that time were caused by scarlet fever, mining accidents, gunshot wounds, and inflammation of the bowels. We had yet to arrive at a time where folks would meet an early demise in a car or a plane. Now, any transportation-related accidents were involved in carriages, locomotives, or horses. Now this house is called the Edwards home. Neither this house nor the street, for that matter, even existed when I lived in Carson City. Now, Mr. Edwards built this house in 1883. Well, there are many legends surrounding this home. According to one, Mr. Edwards used prison labor for the building of this house. It caused a terrible scandal. No one can verify the story, but it continues to get passed on throughout the years. Well, all I can say for certain is I had nothing to do with it. I was dead at the time. Now, Mr. Edwards was county sheriff. He later became a clerk at the court. Mrs. Edwards passed away in 1877, so if she ever lived in this house, I can assure you it was in spirit alone. Mr. Edwards had 2 children. They lived here with their father. He died in this home, and rumor has it he resides here still. A very cold spot at the top of the stairs seems to indicate that very fact. Another spirit lives here as well. It says Mr. Edwards' housekeeper, a Paiute Indian by the name of Mrs. Anderson, still looks after the house for her employer. She has been seen standing in the bay window watching folks go by. It is also said that her favorite piece of furniture, a Steinway piano, remained mysteriously dust-free years after her passing. Many other strange occurrences have been witnessed in this home. Dirty socks have been found laundered and put away before morning. You know, I wouldn't have minded that sort of otherworldly meddling when I had my own house to take care of, I can tell you that. Some claim they've heard babies cooing and interacting with Mrs. Anderson. Inanimate objects have a funny habit of moving about on their own accord. As a matter... Did you hear that? It's the sound of wee babes crying. Oh, we've disturbed the rest. You should go now. I have my own little ones to get back to. Go now. Get on with ya.
It was built prior to 1860 and was owned by the Stewarts until 1862, when it was sold to the Nyes, and finally purchased by St. Teresa's Church and used as a rectory and living quarters. This house is said to be haunted.
Hi y'all, my name today that is not buried in the Mountain View Cemetery. Everyone else is. However, I did try and keep them on. A terrible flu influenza went through this area. In the country, over 10 million people were killed. But due to my work with herbal medicines and Native American research, over 200 people came to me, and most of them lived. I became world-renowned for these herbal practices, and ended up working in the hospital here in Carson City, which at the time had 3 beds. I met my wife Ida here, and we had 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. Both of my sons went on to become doctors also. After I died, my boy continued my work with Laetril, which is vitamin B17, known to have curing ailments towards cancer. This is still controversial today. Enjoy the night home.
As you're walking by here, I would like you guys all to notice this is the last cobblestone that is left in Carson City. This is where the buggies and the horses used to go, right through here. We have no more left, and I think it's so neat that we have this in Carson City.